Okay, going live for real.
Awesome.
We are live.
Okay.
Okay.
Alrighty.
Cool. Looks like we are live. Perfect. Welcome everybody. This is Gelato's community call number 5. It's good to have you all in here. I can see a couple of familiar faces in the chat. We have George, Bruno, and Max. Hello to everybody. A lot of new faces as well. Just want to say a warm welcome to you all. Today we'll be recapping the previous month here at Gelato. We'll be talking about all the integrations we'll be working on, how we've been preparing about the token, also providing you guys with a Q&A towards the end where you guys can directly ask us questions and we'll be able to answer them directly. So we also have 2 new team members, Santanu, who is also in the chat here, and Daniel. They'll be also introducing themselves here. So if you guys want to kick it off, Santanu.
Yeah.
Hello everyone. I work with the Sorbet Finance front end and the GUni pool. So I'm working to make the pool work better, adding new features, adding new usabilities, checking everything works fine with the GUni pool. That's it.
Yeah. Santanu is working a lot with Ari, who is also here on the call, and myself, right? We make sure that GUni, one of the applications built on top of Gelato, right, that does automated liquidity management on Uniswap works nicely, and our current UI needs an overhaul quite desperately. And that's basically what Santanu is working on, and he's done some great stuff in the past, right? Santanu, you received a grant, I think, from the Ethereum Foundation as well. So he's a really talented front-end engineer, and yeah, super happy to have you on board.
Yeah, I also work with Linux IDE, so I did a couple of dev tooling there. So yeah, that was awesome experience, and still it's a long ongoing process to build dev tools. And I think here I will learn a lot more about how the practicals or real life smart contract development practices goes between developers, and I think I will be able to improve the developer experience in future sometime, because that's I really like something.
Awesome. Yeah, and that's what Gelato is all about, right? We want to help developers level up their experience on Ethereum and other networks. And yeah, great to have you in here. All right. Dan, do we also have Daniel in here?
Yes, I believe Daniel is here.
Hey, what's up?
Hello.
So, well, I'm a new backender here. I'm a computer science. I'm a master in computer architecture, and I'm happy to join to Gelato. I'm sure that we are going to enjoy a lot with all the work that we have to do. And well, I mean, I love the team. I love the work. I love what we are going to do, and these are exciting times for this company. So I'm super happy to join.
Yes, and actually, Danielle will be working on kind of re-architecting, helping us to re-architect and implement the new node operator software. We actually have very big plans here on the roadmap. As a lot of people know, a lot of people in the community already asked, like, how can we run Gelato nodes and so on. At the moment, it's still like a kind of a closed process, as you know. And we will try to open that up more towards the end of the year, and Danielle will help us here to get the client to a stage where it's safe to distribute it also to people that aren't like complete Gelato client experts. And yeah, we're quite hopeful here that by October or November we can already have the first version out that people can actually look at themselves. They can run it themselves. That's the goal for the end of this year.
Awesome. Yeah. Dan, I think should I just kick it off with a quick review of the last month or so?
Definitely. I'd say first introduce yourself, because we have a couple of new people in the chat. They probably don't know that who you are, the famous face behind Gelato, along with Lewis as well. So a brief introduction would be great.
I think we're all famous faces here, but yeah, maybe just quickly to myself. My name is Hilma. I'm one of the co-founders of Gelato, founded together with Lewis around about 2019. I will be discussing today a bit what we basically worked on in the past month at Gelato, what we achieved in the background, what you might don't know. And so you just get a kind of like a feeling about what the progress has been. And I think that the last month was really exciting for us. I think we saw some really very interesting integrations, products, or developer teams using Gelato, integrating Gelato. We saw all-time highs in terms of usage of Gelato, which was also great. So I think it's an exciting time. I think I can just quickly jump in and give you guys an overview of what happened. Let me just share my screen for that to give some visuals as well. Cool. Can you let me know when you see that?
Nothing there yet.
Yeah, nothing yet.
I think we have to select it. So that's display.
Perfect.
Now it's there.
Awesome. Yeah. So I think integration-wise, I think I just start basically at the end and then work backwards to kind of like a month ago. So as probably most of you have heard, Gelato is powering. Gelato is basically an infrastructure to automate arbitrary smart contracts on networks like Ethereum, Polygon, Phantom, or any other EVM-based compatible chain, and more other blockchains as well in the near future. And one of the leading AMMs or decentralized exchanges in the whole blockchain ecosystem, I would say QuickSwap, which is the largest one on Polygon at least, have recently natively integrated our limit order system, which is just basically one use case that can be built on Gelato, into their application. And all the users, if you go to QuickSwap, you can go to limit orders and you can now enjoy not only exchanging your tokens right now, but kind of like setting conditional prices upon which you will then do the swap. So that's a really awesome integration. And QuickSwap is a really great team. And they, as I said, they have probably the highest volume on Polygon, right? And now Gelato is helping them to offer even more advanced trading functionalities to their customers. And this is all what Gelato is about, right? You can create even better user experience to your users without having to run any of the underlying infrastructure. So that's really awesome. And I'm super excited about that. Then we had, of course, EthAlend integrators, I think also on Polygon. And what they do is they do yield optimizations, and they use Gelato under the hood to automatically harvest all their vaults every, I think, couple of hours. And usually they would have to like build bots and run it themselves and call it themselves. And now they just, on a UI provided by us, have to select the function they want to automate. When they want to automate it, then Gelato just does the rest for them. So super excited about that integration as well. Then I think something similar is actually happening with KeyDAO. KeyDAO is similar to MakerDAO, just on Polygon. Also very exciting projects. We've been meeting these guys for some time now, and they now finally integrated Gelato. And I think there are loads of more small use cases that need something like Gelato that the KeyDAO guys are actually thinking about building. And so we are super happy about this partnership, and we will work on a lot more integrations in the near future. Super excited about this as well. Then we got Seascape, which is kind of like, I think, the first big gaming project that integrated Gelato. And like we in Gelato, we are very bullish about Web3 and the gaming industry. We believe that NFTs and being able to exchange weapons or anything else within games will be huge in the future. And in games, there are a lot of processes that need to be updated. And I think in that particular use case, we are automatically updating the leaderboards, right, every so often. And so it was a no-brainer for them to utilize Gelato, and yeah, super excited about having the first gaming company actually use us. And I think there are many more to come that will benefit from something like Gelato in the near future. B protocol is a protocol actually on Ethereum mainnet, which now integrated Gelato to kind of like do last-minute arbitrage, automated arbitrage to keep their liquidation systems intact. It's a bit of a complex use case, but basically Gelato does make sure that the system is kind of like on par, and certain exchange rates are actually enforced on chain. If they're not, then we kind of like make sure that prices are pushed back to a certain limit. And so there's also a really exciting use case. The B protocol is a really great project. You should definitely check it out if you haven't done so. Yeah, then last month, or on August 4th, I think there was the release of Kono Finance, and Kono Finance has been in the making for quite some time. Amazing project. It helps you basically prevent liquidations on your Aave loans. It's basically Aave without liquidations. Yeah, it's you just have to go to the website kono.finance, and there you can just import your Aave positions, and you can activate Kono, and then basically we'll protect Gelato in the background, will protect you from being liquidated. And it was actually we got awarded an Aave DAO, an Aave Grants DAO grant. And yeah, so I was super excited about future collaborations between Aave and Gelato, and I think there are a lot of more things yet to come. And I think there will also be a huge update soon to Kono. So yeah, definitely stay tuned to that. And if you're an Aave user, definitely check that out. Yeah. Then GUni is another service or another product that is built on top of Gelato, right? It's doing automated liquidity management on Uniswap v3, and Zerion actually integrated these pools on their UI, and you can now enter and exit these pools on Zerion. And if you don't know Zerion, it's one of the largest DeFi aggregators out there, and they just make it super easy to enter and exit liquidity pool positions. And yeah, definitely check that out. If you go to the search bar and you search for GUni Gelato, you will find them there. So that's also very exciting that we are working together with these guys. And then yeah, just to quickly run it up, we had Keeper DAO that uses Gelato to, similar to the Aave use case, to protect their users for liquidation. So you see there are a lot of debt or better lending protocols where using Gelato is really interesting to automate liquidity protection and stuff like that. And this is one use case we like early identified, and a lot of these protocols are now trying to integrate something like Gelato to automate this liquidation protection for the users. Keeper DAO, another example of that. And then I think the last one that we didn't discuss last time was SpiritSwap. SpiritSwap is similar to QuickSwap, just on Phantom, and they also integrated us and use us to do limit orders. So that's super exciting. And then I think what might kind of got under the radar from a lot of people is that we launched a service that we kind of like internally call PokeMe. And this is just like an interface for developers to very easily automate their smart contracts without having to I have to actually switch network. I won't do it right now. To actually without them having to write much code. So they just have to deploy one small smart contract and then go to this website, and they can automate everything basically. And here we got a tutorial in our docs that if you're a developer, just check it out, and it shows you how you can easily automate anything using Gelato and this website. So super cool. Yeah, definitely check that out. And yeah, so I think other than that, I can just stop my screen sharing. Other than that, we went to the whole team met for the first time. In case you didn't know, like we are a fully remote team. We met for the first time in Paris back at ECC. It's an Ethereum conference last month. That was super exciting. We shared a flat. So most of the team, we shared a flat in Paris. We worked on some integrations there. We did some nice sessions. We did a whole company retreat in the north of France together to kind of like plan the future, plan the token sale that's coming up. That was really amazing. And I think there are some recaps written by Dave. So definitely check those out if you haven't done so. And yeah, I think this is it for the recap. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff going on that I think it's not worth talking about. And we will also release some more information pretty soon. But yeah, I think if there are no questions, we can jump right into the token sale. Maybe what's next, or what do you say, Dan?
Sounds good. A lot of integrations that we covered over the last month, and a lot underway in the pipeline as well. We've been shipping things like crazy. The guys over at Gelato, they've been working nonstop. I know I've been spending a lot of late nights as well, just trying to answer the community questions and keep on top of everything on that regard. So we can jump right into the token sale, how we've been preparing on that front, and what we're actually thinking about in terms of participation, questions that you guys might have around the whitelist that we can clear up from here, and just general overview of how we're planning to launch this token in the next coming week or two.
Yeah. I think I might just be able to share my screen again and then walk through the blog post that we have. I think most of you probably saw that. And there we have all the information. So yeah, let me know when you see that screen. Yeah, it's finally the Gelato token, the long-awaited Gelato token is coming out. I know a lot of the community members that have been around for quite some time, some even like up to a year. It was in the making, and all of the older community members, you definitely know, like we always try to first really come to a point where we deem our product to be at a certain stage where we feel comfortable launching a token. We didn't want to just prematurely launch a token without having too much usage or customers. With a promise or with an idea, we wanted to actually launch it with a used product that is used today. And so we took our time. We also wanted to make sure we do everything as compliant, as legal as possible, and just prepare very carefully for everything. And I think now the time cannot be more perfect to get it out. And yeah, so we announced it last week, I think last Friday, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, we open up our whitelist because there will be a whitelist. This whitelist, part of the people that apply to the whitelist will be invited to conduct KYC. And if they pass our KYC requirements, then they will be eligible to participate in the token sale. And yeah, as you probably know, very briefly or very shortly after we actually opened the whitelist, we had to close it again because there was just like a huge, really unexpected from our side demand to get on that list, and we filled it up super quickly and yeah, closed it shortly after. And now what we basically did until today, we just walked through every single application nearly and just checked out who you are, what you're doing on the space, because we really want the initial community of Gelato to be the right kind of people, right? We want to be a bit selective here. We want to get people that really are interested in the space, that really want to use it maybe, or just see the value of it. And we will have like a smaller circle of people really at the beginning, and then we can grow that community very organically and naturally. But yeah, I think just to really very quickly go through it, you know, Gelato will, the token sale will happen on September 13th. There will be 5,000 people that will be able to participate roughly. So maybe it will be a bit less, a bit more. We have to figure this out based on all the people we have in there now. We of course want to fill the round, but we also don't want to invite too many people in that only a certain percentage will actually get in. So we have to kind of like manage that as optimal as possible, which we're trying to do, and make sure that you check out the KYC criteria at the bottom. There are some countries that unfortunately cannot participate, and we are very sorry if your country is on that list, but we didn't come up with a list, right? We are just following rules here, so please apologies if you're on that list, but yeah, we can't really change that, unfortunately. And yeah, this is very important. Never make sure if you get DM'd by anyone pretending to be from Gelato, it will never be us. Please ignore them. And yeah, here I think are the juicy details. As you know, there will be 420,690,000 gel tokens at the beginning as a total supply, but only a very small fraction of that will actually be sold in the public token sale. It will be 4% of that. And that 4% is sold to raise $5 million. These $5 million, obviously, we are raising as a company to hire more developers, to grow our team, to really be able to ship faster, ship better tech, and grow this infrastructure that we build to more and more customers and be able to support them, right? That's why we need that. We need very good people in the team. And yeah, so the public sale price will be 29 cents roughly. It's actually the same price as the last private round that we closed with very high quality VCs in this place. So you're getting exactly the same price as they did, not more, not less. And there will only be ETH accepted. So if you want to participate, make sure you get ETH. What is quite interesting is we are actually doing it self-hosted. What does that mean? We will be having the token sale on our own website with basically custom made by us. Why? We believe that the way we want to do it and the way we always envisioned having a token sale is just best done when we have full control over it. And we want to be able to adjust all the small details of the sale, and it should be in our control to make it a success. And there are a lot of cool platforms out there that you can use, but we decided if we want to do it, then we want to do it right. We want to do it ourselves, and we have very, very talented engineers in the team, and they can easily just build it up themselves, and that's what we're doing. And I think that will provide users with the best experience possible. Yeah, it will be on Ethereum mainnet, so make sure to get some ETH for gas. It unfortunately probably won't be cheap, but that's just how it is on Ethereum. And yeah, initial circulating market cap will be $2.9 million, so not much at the beginning, right? And yeah, so very briefly, there will be two pools. Whale pool, dolphin pool. Whale pool has a total amount of $3 million in there. It's roughly 2.4% of the total supply, and you can buy a minimum you have to buy is 5,000, the maximum is 20,000, and there will be some lockup. So 30% of the tokens that you will receive out of there, you will actually get immediately, and you can do with it whatever you want, and 70% will be actually locked in that smart contract. So you have to wait 6 months, and then you can come back and withdraw them. And this is basically, if you want to participate in the whale pool, you should be a long-term believer in Gelato. Basically, that's why it's there. The dolphin pool does not have any of that lockup. You get your tokens right away, but you can only buy up to 4,000 basically. And yeah, this pool will be having roughly 2 million. What is interesting though is, let's say this whale pool doesn't completely get filled. Let's say only 2.5 million will actually bought up by whales. Then 500,000 of this pool will actually be transferred to the dolphin pool, and the dolphin pool will have more gel in there. So then more dolphins will be able to participate. But yeah, we will release more information about that pretty soon. Yeah, I think the whitelisting requirements is not really relevant anymore because the whitelist is closed. But yeah, this is the gel token allocation. As you can see, the team together has 25% here. And then we did some private rounds with like amazing projects, amazing investors that you can see in our white paper. They add a lot of value to Gelato. And then yeah, 4% is the public sale, and then 50% is the community development funds basically, which will be used to grow Gelato, to incentivize developers to integrate Gelato. A lot of really cool ideas we're having, what we want to do with these tokens. But basically the idea is grow the network and expand it. And for that, we need resources, and for that, these 50% are allocated. And yeah, lockup periods, the private side investors, 2 years, founding and future team members, 4 years, and here are all the details. And the community development fund has no lockup, but will be used kind of like just a small amount at the time, obviously, and we don't want to like use everything up at once. And yeah, I think there are a lot of questions you can read here and answers you get. And there's a small overview of our roadmap. We have very, very big plans, as you can see here. And I think we have another session where we will talk about that. What's maybe also interesting for our viewers is the functionalities of our token, the token that you will be acquiring. One functionality will be governance, which is very, very important in Gelato. So basically, you will be able to participate in voting upon certain proposals that we will craft, or that anyone will be able to craft. And you can be a part of making decisions if we should do something or if we should not do something. Everyone is free to post in our forum that we're having, forum.gelato.network. You can post ideas, we can discuss it, and maybe like 2 weeks later you see it being voted upon, right? So everyone can engage. And then we introduce staking and bot operators that are executing these transactions on behalf of the applications like InstaDapp or whatnot. They will have to have Gelato tokens, acquire Gelato tokens, and then stake them in the system. And if they, for whatever reason, misbehave or not act according to kind of like the social contract that we in place, the governance, the token holders, us, we can hold them accountable, and we can actually punish them for not behaving. So it adds much more resilience and security to the network. And yeah, so the token sale will happen soon, 13th. Stay tuned for that. We got a lot of other updates coming up. GUni, the interface, will be updated very briefly at last. So next week should be the day for that. I think Kono Finance will have an update pretty soon. And yeah, I think there are a lot of new things coming up in the next few weeks. But of course, the token sale probably being the most exciting thing. Yeah, I think that would be it from my side. Dan, I don't know, Luis or Ari, if you have anything to add. Otherwise, we can jump into a Q&A.
I think you covered it all pretty well, so happy to go into Q&A. All right.
Sounds good. That was a very in-depth overview. Perfect. So we're just taking some questions from the chat now, preparing them on screen for you guys.
Yeah, I can already grab the first one. What is the process of running an executor node on the Gelato network? So at the moment, these bot clients are quite specialized, very complex software. And if you remember Gelato version 1, the executor node was very simple to use. Anybody could run it, but that meant that the smart contract integrations were a lot harder to build. With Gelato v2, we kind of flipped that around, and now the smart contract integrations are much easier to build, but they do assume that a lot of work is done on the client level, on the bot client level. At the moment, this development process is still kind of like closed source. We've been investing a lot of time and making the perfect software. However, it's not quite yet ready to be shared with the public yet. It's still like requires a lot of hot fixes, requires a lot of development. And so we're currently working with specialists here, node operators, that also run nodes for other projects, for example. And there's about 3 or 4 specialists we work with that also run our clients. And we now, in the next stage, want to open it up to more to the community, so that people can also, come and stake Gelato tokens and download the software from us and then run such a client. We're not quite there yet, but this will soon be opened up to the community. But at the moment, the network is fully functional. There's a couple of node operators, so it will just take some more time to get it to a stage where other people can also run these nodes. Technically, if you are interested in running a node today, you could just contact us. Even and the minimum requirement after the token sale will just be that you stake the gel token to be able to provide your services to the network. However, once again, one of the reasons why the software isn't distributed openly yet is that it's technically, when we introduce slashing and so on, and you're not an expert, then you might get slashed, and we want to avoid a situation like that, right? Like the software has to be super secure and for you to use in order to avoid being slashed and so on. So yeah, I think we will get the software to a stage where we can safely provide it to specialists in the community toward the end of this year.
Sounds good.
Any plans of launching any integrations on Optimism and Arbitrum, I guess? Yes, of course. As you know, Optimism especially, but also Arbitrum were a bit closed. I've heard that Optimism now opened up to the community. I think we will just try to get on a whitelist there. Of course, we want to be on these networks as well. So expect us to be there as soon as possible, I guess.
Yeah, and I think it's especially interesting for also GUni, right, Ari? Because I think Uniswap is deploying on both of these networks, right? If I'm not mistaken. And so it's very interesting to experiment with some new strategies on there and low fees. I think that will be quite cool.
And just for the record, we already are live. Gelato Network is live on Ethereum mainnets, on Robson testnet, on Polygon mainnet, and on Phantom. And I think probably the next one we will be live at will be Binance Smart Chain. Okay, so I guess this also covers, please talk about possible expansion to other chains, asked by Crypto Penguin. I mean, there's a lot of chains getting a lot of traction recently, right? Avalanche, Solana. So, I mean, you can expect us to be there sooner or later as well. It's just a matter of where the usage is for us. Like Gelato Network is no good anywhere without users already being there. So if these chains, like if the dApps that integrated us already move there, or like dApp developers request us, then we will definitely move there. We will prioritize that chain. However, like moving an infrastructure like Gelato to a chain, it can take a bit of time. So we have to prioritize here, and definitely not every chain will go live immediately.
Yeah, but the end goal really is to have Gelato be this unopinioned middleware piece which supports any network, any of the big networks basically. So you can leverage it not only on kind of like EVM-based chains, maybe at some point even other ones. So EVM-based compatible chains are of course at the moment kind of like the most used ones. But yeah, Gelato is meant to be that infrastructure for all these networks. But of course, we will move to one at a time, and we will prioritize according to the usage on these networks. Yeah, Luis, if you want to take that, can you elaborate on the use of gel token for executors on the Gelato network? I think I covered it briefly, but maybe.
Yeah. So executors in the network will have to stake gel tokens. You can, like, we will have some documentation about that shortly after the sale. And yeah, so basically they need to lock up gel tokens, basically proving that they have skin in the game, right? And then also we will introduce a slashing mechanism. So at the moment, all the integrations that are live on the network usually have all their security parameters enforced by smart contract logic. So technically bots shouldn't be able to do anything bad because the smart contract regulates the whole transaction flow. However, you know, there's like some marginal stuff like slippage or even like this has never happened before, but maybe if a bot doesn't execute at the right time and so on, these are the sort of things where the governance could step in and then also decide to slash an executor's gel tokens. So that's also the second use case for the token is like it will also be a governance token, so people can participate in the DAO that we will launch with the token and can make important decisions like that. And then we're also thinking about other models for the token that aren't fully fleshed out yet. But for example, as you all know, Ethereum is like a very resource constrained environment, and we've already seen this with like exchanges like QuickSwap that integrate the Gelato network for limit orders. There's a lot of transactions that need to be automated, and as soon as the network is at a stage where really inside one block, not every transaction that would be ready could get filled, I think it will also be very interesting to use the token to kind of have like a priority queue system to let developers or users that stake Gelato tokens maybe get into the block first. If ever, or whenever the network scales to such a situation where literally every block would be filled with Gelato transactions, that's where the token could also be used as a coordination mechanism for these kind of transaction inclusion priority queues.
Yeah. I see a next question here, which is, how are you planning to solve the MEV issue, I assume, or the high cost of transactions? So yeah, maybe we can talk briefly about MEV here. MEV, of course, meaning miner extracted value, so that miners can, by ordering transactions in a certain manner, extract certain value out of transactions. There's Flashbots and other protocols that basically enable searchers or like anyone to submit kind of like transactions in bundles to miners, and they can basically get a reward from extracting value out of these transactions. And yeah, we are very much aware of that. Obviously, we actually recently hired someone in the team who focused exclusively on that topic. Ed here, Retail and Guy, he's unfortunately not here in the call, I think, today. But yeah, so it very much depends on the use case, we believe. And for a lot of use cases, for example, like these limit orders that we are having, our clients are written in such a way to make it very, very hard to extract value out of these transactions by kind of like setting very, very slim slippage bounds, or by basically writing smart contracts in such a way where extracting value is actually quite hard. And so I think there you can already optimize transactions or smart contracts in a very efficient way to minimize that. But we think that the way of how you submit transactions, for example, using a system like Flashbots, is super interesting, because you actually avoid having to encounter reverts of failed transactions in case your transaction doesn't get included into the block, right? So it's actually very interesting for us for coordinations of executors, and so we are looking into that actively. We are actually having some POCs being built right now that are using that infrastructure. So you can expect to hear more about it in the near future. But I think in short, we are very much aware of it. Our systems are quite resilient to that. We build systems with extraction of value in mind, so we try to always optimize against that. And so yeah, I think that should probably cover it. Yeah, I think Luis, there's another. Oh, I can also take that. What are Gelato's strengths compared to Keeper service in Chainlink? Yeah, so Chainlink recently, if you don't know, Chainlink recently announced a system called Chaining Keepers, which is on a high level, I think, quite similar to what Gelato is doing in a lot of regards. And Chaining usually focuses very much on oracles, right? They provide price feeds on chain, but in the latest weeks or so, they are also focused now on automating smart contracts on Ethereum and other networks. So I think you can think of these services as quite similar. We have basically one service that is fairly similar to that one, which basically just allows developers to automate arbitrary smart contracts on networks. I guess they have their pros and cons. I think one big strength of our system is that we actually don't assume, or you don't need to buy like gel tokens to do any of the stuff. You can just like use ETH. You can use any ERC20 token you want, literally deposit it into a smart contract, and then this is used to pay for transactions. And so you can use ETH, or for example, DAI, a stable coin, to just like pay for transactions. You don't need like a volatile gel token as you do, for example, with the chaining system. I think that's quite a good strength. And also Gelato is very versatile, right? We have very specific services that are highly optimized, like these limit orders, like other ones. And then we have a more generalistic framework that you can use to automate transactions. So I think we've been in the space of like automating arbitrary smart contracts a bit longer than Chainlink. They've been kind of like more recently, I think, identified that as a very interesting industry, and I think it makes sense that they move into it, because we believe it will be very, very big market. So we assume there will be more projects trying to kind of like take the Gelato approach and try to apply them. So I think it makes sense, and yeah, so it's probably a good business move by Chainlink, and yeah. Their product is probably also not too bad, but I think there are a lot of advantages to using Gelato that make our system quite unique. Cool. Do we have any other questions?
Yeah, so if you want to contribute, I mean, the biggest thing you can always do if you're a developer, just, hit our Telegram, ask us questions. If you want to integrate Gelato, get a proof of concept live, go to the documentation and try to, hook something up with PokeMe. If you work with any projects that need anything automated, we always appreciate if you reach out to us. And if you're not a developer or you don't work with any projects that could use automation, I think what we really appreciate if you, like most of all, contribute good memes to the discussions. Also, we have a forum, right? So if you become active in our forum discussions, maybe you bring up topics that are of interest to you, we can put them to a vote in the community, anything really. So as long as you're active, contribute with good tech ideas, with projects that could integrate Gelato, or just with nice memes and so on, that's really that really goes the distance. So that's cool.
Yeah, especially the outreach part. Like if you know any cool projects and you use certain dApps and you think Gelato would really benefit them to automate certain aspects of it, then definitely create a channel, reach out to them, tell them about Gelato, reach out to us, tell them about this project, and then yeah, let's like be the glue that kind of like glues these projects together, right, and help Gelato grow. I think that's a lot of value can be added that way.
Okay, then next question. If I miss out on the token sale, how and when will I be able to acquire Gel? Okay, so I mean, you guys know this is Ethereum, right? So probably you will be able to buy Gel on Uniswap very quickly. We don't personally, we won't go to exchanges and try to get it listed or anything. We fully focus like on the product, on the roadmap, on building good tech and so on. But as you know the space, probably people will provide liquidity for it. We do think about maybe providing some incentive programs here for liquidity providers with GUni. So we will have some documentation about that in the near future. But in general, like you can expect it to be on Uniswap or like the typical exchanges on Ethereum. Info. Okay, so can you disclose info on the last VC round? So the last VC round, we will disclose info soon. We can already talk about the builder round that we had before that. So in the beginning of the summer, there were 20 amazing people from the community who invested in Gelato. So for example, one of them was Andre Konje from Yearn and Keeper. He invested in Gelato. Samyak from Instadap, who we've been working with for a long time, right? Instadap was one of the first big users of the Gelato network. And for example, yeah, some guys from Aave, Mark Zeller from Aave, amazing people like Amin from SpankChain and Reflexer Labs, and really nice people invested in Gelato this summer from the community. We really took care that it's not just VCs and funds, but also people that contribute code to the project or to other projects that are building projects themselves. Even like smaller open source developers like Paul Berg also invested, who we think is a really great guy, and Chris from I think he used to work with Maker, who builds tools like TypeChain and all the stuff that we like to use ourselves. He invested as well. So we will soon have an article about that where you can read all about the people that invested, as well as the VCs who we currently are in talks with, and the round will close very soon.
Yeah, and then I think the second part of the question was who can participate in the whale round? Can you describe more detailed allocation procedures? So as you know, the whale pool is basically $3 million worth in size. And whale pool participants are handpicked by us, and these are we are quite selective who we choose there. If we choose you, I think we do very much believe that you will be a long-term contributor to the project in what way whatsoever, right? We very much like people building other projects that might actually use Gelato, or people that know a lot of projects who invested in them, for example, or just people that have been helping Gelato for a long time, right? So, but if you showcase that you really care about the space, that you are a long-term believer in everything Web3 related, then I think you have a very high chance of getting a whitelisted. But if you don't, please don't worry. Like there's always this dolphin pool where you can acquire a very good chunk of the initial circulating supply. And then, of course, there will be other means that the token will be distributed, especially if you're really contributing to Gelato. You will definitely be able in some of the programs that we will be launching get these tokens. So I wouldn't worry about it too much. But yeah, we will announce the whitelist people in the whale round pretty soon, hopefully still by this week. But please bear with us. It takes time to review all these applications, right? And we are doing our best.
Cool. I think let's wrap it up here, guys. So once again, thanks for joining us. We appreciate the time that you guys took out of your day to come chat with us here, ask us some questions about Gelato and the future integrations, some questions around the token. I think we've clarified it quite in sync. I think we're all on the same level now, same terms. If you guys have any further questions, I'm basically always in the community chat unless I'm sleeping. So feel free to come there and ask me any questions, bother me as much as you want. Ask me if the results are out for the whitelist, which they are not. They are coming soon, hopefully. That's completely fine. So yeah, thanks again, guys. We hope to see you next time.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Ciao.
See ya.